Welcome everyone. My name is Aiken, a Senior Program Manager of Microsoft Hong Kong. Today, I will share with you why Microsoft Endpoint Management is essential to your Zero Trust strategy. In case you missed it, we announced the Microsoft Endpoint Manager at Ignite Orlando. It fits your requirement wherever you may be in the management journey. If you're ready for cloud only, go there. But if you're not there yet, you can use co-management as long as you'd like. It is the destination. Get the maximum out of cloud attach and improve the security posture of your organization. Microsoft Endpoint Manager includes Configuration Manager and Microsoft Intune. This is a secure integrated solution. It adds the security and intelligence from the cloud to your existing on-prem and mobile environment. In the other section, we discuss the benefits of streamlined management and converged administration. In this section, we will see how Microsoft Endpoint Manager has the best integration and automation for the robust implementation of your Zero Trust strategy at the device level. Section Objectives: to introduce the Zero Trust concept and learn why it is needed. To enable secure collaborations to achieve better business outcomes using identity, device health, and conditional access. To learn why Microsoft Intune is integral to your Zero Trust implementations. To learn why Microsoft 365 is the most complete suite of products to enable Zero Trust end-to-end. So, what is the Zero Trust model? Zero Trust model is built for cloud workloads. It eliminates the concept of trusted based on location within a network perimeter. It leverages device and user trust claims to gain access to data and resources. Perimeter-based networks only trust users inside a network. Single point of attack can threaten the entire network. Security teams and end-user IT teams often use separate and disjointed tools and strategy. We need a new model, Zero Trust. Benefit of a Zero Trust model: use conditional access to ensure high-value resources are only accessible from compliant devices. Prevent network access and lateral movement. Enable users to be more productive by working how they want, where they want. These are three pillars of Zero Trust mindset. Correction: no trust. Always authenticate and authorize based on all available data points, including user identity, locations, device health, service or workload, data classification, and anonymous. Use least privilege access. Minimize user access with just-in-time and just enough access. Assume breach. Minimize blast radius and prevent lateral movement by segmenting access by network, user, devices, and application awareness. Verify all sections are encrypted end-to-end. Use analytics to get visibility and drive threat detection, and improve defenses. These are 6 components of Zero Trust. not only identity and network location, but also include devices, infrastructure, applications, and data. When an identity attempts to access a resource, Zero Trust demands we verify the identity with strong authentications. Ensure access is compliant and typical for that identity. Follows least privilege access principles. Once an identity has been granted access to a resource, data can flow to different devices, from IoT devices to smartphones, from BYOD to partner-managed devices, and from on-prem workloads to cloud-hosted servers. This diversity creates a massive attack surface, requiring we monitor and enforce device health and compliance for secure access. Applications and APIs provide the interface by which data is consumed. They may be legacy on-premises, lift and shifted to cloud workloads, or modern SaaS applications. In a zero trust model, controls and technologies should be applied to discover shadow IT, ensure appropriate in-app permissions, gate access based on real-time analytics, monitor for abnormal behavior, implement control of user actions, and validate secure configuration options. Infrastructure is a critical threat vector in zero trust strategy. Access for version, configurations, and just-in-time access to harden defense. Use telemetry detect attacks and anomalies, and implement controls to automatically block and flag abnormal behavior and take protective actions. All data is ultimately accessed over network infrastructure. Networking controls can provide critical controls to enhance visibility and help prevent attackers from moving laterally across the network. Networks should be segmented, including deeper in-network microsegmentation, and real-time threat protection, end-to-end encryption, monitoring, and analytics should be employed. Move away from perimeter-based data protection towards data-driven protection. Ultimately, security teams are focused on protecting data. Where possible, data should remain safe even if it leaves the devices, apps, infrastructure, and networks the organization controls. Securing and managing data by following data classifications taxonomies, content labeling, and encryption, and ensuring that access is authorized based on those attributes, a key requirement to your zero trust security model. I think of the perimeter-based network like being stuck in a fish tank with a big net on top that mostly creates plane. For the user perspective, it falls drastically short of expectations of what is possible. For technologists, it limits your ability to leverage how the world is moving forward and keeps your focus away from your business problem and on maintaining technology internally. For security and access to the tank from outside is X to the growing risk and threat picture. I've sat in some roundtables with different customers, hear similar stories. The good news is you are not alone, and this problem can be solved. A way to do it is by adopting a layered approach. This framework allows you to think precisely about what controls, policies, and sensors you need at each layer to gain access to corporate resources. Take the time to deeply understand the frameworks and concepts laid out in this talk and how they can apply to your business. Create a shared understanding in your organization of what problem you are solving for. Is it for users? Get support and buy-in from company leadership, security, and your peers in technology. Be clear about what risks you need to solve for and protect against. Then apply appropriate policy and control against those risks to land in an acceptable zone. Before a demo, I have some practical advice based on our experience. What I've laid out on the left slide are examples of Microsoft technologies that apply to each layer, and on the right, technologies that apply to all. I'm going to start at the right of this slide. Conditional access and Microsoft Security Graph are two foundational pieces of this strategy. Security Graph not only provides analysis and insights, but allows you to dynamically respond to a changing threat landscape. Conditional access complements that by allowing you to create and enforce policy across multiple layers based on changes in that landscape. Now, let's go to demo. This is Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center. In a single portal, you can manage all security policies regarding devices, apps, endpoint security, users, and groups. In this panel, you can configure different security policy to control your user access. For example, we can require multi-factor authentications for medium and high-risk users before they access applications. Those risk assessment is provided by Identity Protections, which is included in Azure AD Premium Plan 2. Let's open a conditional access policy and see what it is. In a conditional access policy, we have three assignments: users and groups, cloud apps, and conditions. You may select all user here, or specific user and group, or you can select by directory role. For example, we can select global admin only or different privilege access role. Here, we select all users. So, always exclude yourself as glass break So you won't block yourself and then you can't return back to this portal. After verifications test, you can go back to this setting and remove yourself in the exclusive list. In Car Apps, you can select all apps and exclude a specific app. Or you can select applications one by one. In conditions, we have 5 categories: sign-in risk, device platforms, locations, client apps, and device state. In this policy, we select sign-in risk. There are 4 different levels: high, medium, low, and no risk. It is determined by Azure AD identity protection. In this case, we select high and medium, which we need to enforce further control. Then we go to access controls, grant. Here we have block access and grant access. If you want to block all access, which is defined as high or medium risk, just select block access. If you still want to allow access but want to have further control, then you can select require multiple factor authentications or other control with an or condition. In this case, we select require multiple factor authentications if the identity is classified as medium or high risk. So we want to confirm it's really our user. Then you can end policy and save, or you can select report only. So the policy will be in evaluations, but it won't enforce. Conditional access policy can integrate with Microsoft Cloud App Security, which is part of Azure AD Premium Plan 2. With these integrations, it provides section control for application access. In this example, you can see 5 apps are included in the condition: Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, Teams, as well as third-party applications like Box and Salesforce. In conditions, we specify that this control apply to all device state, exclude devices are Azure AD join, and marked as compliant. In section control, we use a standard control, block downloads during the sections. It means that if the device is hybrid Edge LED joint and the device is marked as compliant, we don't apply this control. But if the device is unmanaged, during the sessions, we don't allow download in those 5 apps. We can also apply monitor only or custom policy. If we select custom policy, we can have granular control in Cloud App Security Portal. In Cloud App Security Portal, we have a lot of different policy and templates you can apply. When I select section policy template, you can see there are 4 preset policy template. You can block download based on real-time content inspections, or block upload, or monitor all activities, block copy and paste, etc. Conditional access policy also integrate with Intune MAM. With Intune MAM, we can protect applications and data on iOS and Android that are unmanaged or managed by third-party MDM solution. This policy applies to all cloud apps with one condition, which is platform. In device platform, we include Android and iOS. In access control, we grant access when 2 conditions are applied. First, require approved client app. Second, require app protection policy. In app protection policy panel, we can see there are 2 policies, one for Android apps and other for iOS apps. App protection policies support Microsoft third-party apps, include Managed Browser, which is Edge, Exchange, Outlook, PowerPoint, Word apps, as well as OneDrive. You can select other Microsoft third-party apps here. We also support third-party applications, which is integrated with Microsoft Intune SDK. For example, Zoom for Intune, Acrobat Reader for Intune, and Citrix File Share for Intune. You can also integrate your custom apps with Microsoft Intune SDK. With app protection policy, you can prevent cloud backup. You can control data sent to other apps and received from other apps. You can restrict copy and paste only happens between policy managed app only. In iOS platform, you can control third-party keyports at app level. And you can enable encryptions for app data protections. And also, you can control all web contents only available in Intune managed browser, which is Edge Mobile. In app protection policy, you can have granular control for app access. For example, you can request PIN before user can access the app. Also, you can support Face ID as well as other biometric features in Android. Also, you can control the launch condition. For example, you can request PIN reset for maximum PIN attempts. You can block data or wipe data out from the device if the device is jailbreak or root. This is the last policy in our demo. In this policy, we are going to restrict Exchange Online access. In Cloud Apps, we select Exchange Online. In Condition, we select Client Apps. We would like to control access from browser as well as mobile apps and desktop clients, no matter through modern or fan protocol, Exchange ActiveSync, or other client protocols. In access control, we request device to be marked as compliant. That means all Exchange Online access, no matter web access, mobile app access through ActiveSync or other protocol, it requires the device is managed by Intune. That's all of our demo. From our customers, we have seen a few other alternatives that we wanted to share with you. Most organizations tend to be line the left-hand side of this chart. And if you are in this section, your goal is probably to end up as the right-hand side environment. So, what does this transformation look like? Most of you may be in the traditional stage, with most resources on premises. You have Windows 10 and Office 2016 or 2019, with domain-joined devices and micro-segmentations at the network level. Strong controls for access and authorization based on firewalls, proxies, and VPN. Typically, organizations use GPO and Configuration Manager to deploy policies. There are a few things that you can do to get started with these transformations. First, attach your Configuration Manager. Second, connect your identity to the Azure AD Cloud Identity and start using Office 365, Exchange Online, and such tools. Last but not least, apply Intune MAM policies for the mobile device so you can enable BYOD scenarios with minimum disruption to user experience. The devices are not enrolled or managed, but the work applications and work data is. As you move into the advanced stage, you will use modern devices for maximum productivity. Windows 10 with Microsoft 365 security and compliance tools built in, and Office 365 Pro Plus with features and security controls from the cloud. You will deploy Intune managed operating system across all endpoints and deploy Intune managed apps such as Teams, Outlook Mobile, Edge Mobile, OneDrive, and so on. You will enable multi-factor authentication with Azure AD and use conditional access to verify explicitly. In the optimal stage, you would add threat detection and automatic remediation, automatic data classifications, and other dynamic controls across the stack. An alternative approach is to use Configuration Manager Account Management Gateway to provide management access without the traditional VPN. This is being used by several customers to bring benefits of Zero Trust to the existing workforce while they add new devices and mobile users directly to the Zero Trust environment. Using Log Analytics and Sentinel, they get the deep visibility into both on-prem and cloud activity to make sure the risk conditions are controlled. At the end of this presentation, we will leave you with links to an ebook that contains this chart. Microsoft Zero Trust is a comprehensive offering, and this section drills down into how you as the device management owners add to the success of your company's Zero Trust strategy. The ebook demonstrates how your tasks integrate with the work that must be done across other layers. This is Zero Trust architecture of Microsoft IT environment. In the central, it is security policy enforcement with real-time evaluation. When the user tries to access data and applications, identity, multi-factor authentication, user and section risk, device risk and compliance state, device identity are all evaluated. Data, including email and documents, structured data, are classified and labeled. If it is required, they are also encrypted. Applications is protected by adaptive access control. Infrastructure is protected by just-in-time access, plus threat protection. Network is in micro-segmentation. The most important criteria is not the configuration and controls, but developing the Zero Trust mindset. Have a deeper understanding of how these concepts apply to your business. Start by asking questions. Ask questions to determine a shared understanding in your organizations of what problem you are solving for. What is the risk? What is the acceptable outcome? What are some unique needs of individual business needs? Conditional access allows you to turn those answers into a set of conditions. You will notice that these conditions map to the layers we discussed earlier. You will evaluate the identity, the device compliance, the location, and network, as well as the kind of apps being used. You want known apps where the security policies are applied, and not just any app downloaded from the wild west of the internet. On the other side of the conditional access equation are the controls. Depending on the risk level and the organization priorities, you can use these if-then statements to customize the experience for your users. The conditional access engine is using machine learning from the Microsoft Cloud, the policy you have configured, the threat evaluation based on signals from millions of customers, and the session risk to bring this all together. You can configure, deploy, and report on all this from the Microsoft Intune console, as well as the Azure AD console. Using Microsoft Intune to enable Zero Trust. I mentioned these concepts earlier, but here is a quick recap for anyone who is unfamiliar. When it comes to mobile devices, there are two levels of control: MDM, Mobile Device Management, and MAM, Mobile Application Management. MAM can be used standalone or on top of MDM. Sometimes you need very restrictive access to resources, but sometimes you only need minimal control, especially if you want to keep users productive. With EMS, you get the tools to deliver on both scenarios. With conditional access, you can define policy that will limit access to your corporate data based on network, device status, location, user profile, application sensitivity. This policy can adapt to real-time conditions based on the perceived risks. For example, our machine learning based on Azure AD Identity Protection, which leverages billions of signals daily, can detect suspicious behavior and trigger controls to allow or block user access. Policies can also challenge users with multi-factor authentications, device enrollment, or password change to ensure that only trusted users on compliant devices can access sensitive corporate data. With that, we come to the last slide of this learning path. Congratulations! In this section, you learned how Microsoft Endpoint Manager enables mobility and productivity for all your users, enabling the device management controls within your Zero Trust strategy. It integrates with Azure Active Directory, Microsoft Defender ATP, Microsoft Cloud App Security, Microsoft Information Protection, and other security technologies to put the IT pro in driver's seat of securing the modern workplace. This can be a lot of information, so here are some resources to help you wrap your head around this. The Zero Trust web page is a wealth of information and includes an ebook to dive into the different aspects beyond device management. The product documentation has several how-to guides on different aspects of device security, such as device encryption, conditional access, security baselines, security tasks, credentials, and such. Here are additional resources. Thank you.